What's up, everybody? This is Unplugem. Uh, I am eternal, guide my tongue, my heart, and my mind to be in alignment with your will. I hope that this video finds you all in a good space and place in your mind. I want to deal with the mystical side of music production. If you're familiar with some of my other videos, you may know that I have had an extensive career in the underground music scene here in Detroit that produced both Eminem and Dilla. And my experiences in that scene is by and large what led me to a lot of the things that the great I Am has revealed to me today. And I want to thank you all for your support, for your supportive comments especially, and for encouraging me to continue because, you never know what may be going on in a person's mind or in a person's life, and that kind word or that positive reinforcement may be just what they need when they need it. So I thank you for being men enough and brothers and sisters enough to consider me worth watching. So I want to share a little bit more of my story with you guys as we get into the mystical side of music production. A music producer, brother named Jay, hit me up and he left me a comment, and it just kind of touched me. The be safe part of his comment, because this is indeed something that if you do this in this satanic world, in this Luciferian hierarchical world, you may not believe it yet, but if you do this and you do it well, you're going to upset some forces that are going to want to retaliate, and they don't retaliate the way people do in the street. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised, DPS, K through 12, from the south side of 8 Mile, raised between 7 Mile and 6 Mile, and between Finkel and Puritan. And, so I'm not going to worry about those things, but, do keep me in your prayers, and, know that it's a reality. It's part of the game that you choose to play when you step out here and you do this. So I take it very seriously, and I hope that you do too, that I don't have the time nor the inclination or motivation to waste your or my energy giving you a whole bunch of sugar, honey, iced tea. So if I say it, you can believe it. And let's go. So when you get into music, when you have music in your blood, like most of us and many of us do, you're going to find a very mystical energy. The deeper depths that you explore the science of music, the more this energy, the more this mystical side will reveal itself to you. Now, some of you are just playing around, and you're a music player, and you're playing. And if you're playing, you may never experience this side. But some people get to the deep, dark depths. And when I say dark depths, I don't mean any purposeful seeking of anything demonic, but I just mean that once you get into this pool, there is a deep end. So we want to deal with some of that deep end. We're going to talk a little bit about the augmented fourth, or the chord of evil, the devil's chord, the tritone, also called the Pythagorean comma. But before we do that, because there's a lot already said on that, let me preface it with this. Don't say, well, you didn't say this and you didn't say that. I don't mean to. My point is to bring something to you that you may not hear someone else say. That's my point. Otherwise, why kick it? Just to regurgitate what's already been said. No, my story is unique, and so the way that I speak and the way I put it down is going to have to be unique. And now for any who may doubt my credibility in hip-hop, my claims to having known some of the insiders from their very beginning and inception, I have left a couple of tunes. Now, one is more recent. That's the Blowing and Pouring is more recent, within the last 5 years. And then you have the older stuff that actually does come from the era of the hip-hop shop on 7 Mile, which was right down the street from where I was raised at my grandma's on Murray Hill. in between Finkel and Puritan. The hip hop shop was either on Mansfield or St. Mary's, somewhere in that same area, but off 7 Mile. So sometimes I would walk down there. It was a few blocks, but you know, sometimes I wanted so desperately to be in that community that I would take that walk. And it was a small and intimate community, so it's no great claim to fame for me to say that I was in the same room with Eminem when he had dusty, dirty brown hair and brown eyes, and was visibly shaken by being around so many brothers and sisters in the hood. And you know, also, you know, being a new MC and wondering would he be accepted, and all that's understandable. And also my experiences with Dilla. Jay Dilla is a masterful producer. Many would say he is the father of the new sound, of the new age to come for hip hop music, and he also was a staple at the hip hop shop, and he passed out fantastic and a lot of stuff that people will never hear. As when he was known as JD, John Doe, and you know, we used to rock to those instrumentals and freestyle to those instrumentals, and both my MCing credibility and production credibility can be found if you looking for that. I mean, I'm not going to never sell that stuff, but it's up. Blowing and pouring, I'm rhyming. My partner, who was my primary rapper, the Snoop to my Dre, my main man D-Peasy and Heezy, he provided the fresh track for Blowing and Pouring. He's got a lot of fresh stuff on SoundCloud. He's still active, and we're still tight. That's still my main man. 50 grand again and again and again. My brother from another mother. But we began in a group together called 3 Card Molly, and 3 Card Molly stuff is the stuff that comes from that era, the stuff we passed out at that same hip hop shop, Maurice Malone's famed hip hop shop. Maurice Malone and Proof basically ran the thing, and Proof and a lot of the other brothers who were regulars there knew us, you know, D-Peasy and I, and gave us our due respect. Every time I walked in, Proof would love to give me the mic, because it was a way I rapped and came across that kind of walked the line, if you will. And I think he respected that. I walked the line of your Tribe Called Quest and X-Clan and Public Enemy type influence, and then your Ice Cube and NWA and some of your more West Coast type of influence. And that's just the era that we were in. When I graduated was when the West Coast began to come in '91. So without spending a whole lot more time on that, you know, that's just who I am. And, you know, for the interest of disclosure, if you've ever seen the Sheared show or whatever, when you make music, 9 times out of 10, it comes from within your blood, your bloodline. And you will find that most people who make music can tell you, oh, my uncle played this or my cousin played that. Well, I can tell you the same thing. And for my family, it was the Moss family. The Moss family is who you get your Clark sisters from. Maddie Moss Clark is the mother of the Clark sisters, and she was my grandfather's sister. Okay, so it's all in me and my sibling, and we both have the skill. So, let's continue. Now, the Psalms and Old Testament display music's use in praise and warfare primarily. And let me say this to all of my young brothers and my nieces and my nephews who are still adamant about getting into a cesspool called the music industry, getting into a mind control program that you know as a business, that you think is a business. They call them CIA front organizations. You're getting into something that, like M and like a lot of others, Amy Winehouse, the list goes on and on, you know, you don't know what you're getting into. And when they talk about rehab, they're talking about a place where they tighten you up, mind control-wise. And it is that deep. When people say it's deeper than rap and things like that, they're alluding to all of these things, the mystical side of music, and I want to focus on the mystical side of music production. Now, I did think I was going to keep this to 10 minutes. My ex-girl always told me I was long-winded. Maybe that's why she's my ex-girl. But but I'm going to be me, and we're going to rock this until we can't rock it no more. So the Psalms in the Old Testament, which if you don't strictly stick with what Bible scholars say, and why should you, the Psalms actually predate the Bible as we know it. But we can all agree, let's deal with some of those things sometime. What we can all agree on sometime, and then sometime we got to disagree. But we can all agree that the Psalms represent songs. It was written scripture that was to be put to music. And you find those notations before most of your Psalms, a lot of them, to the chief musician, Shiggaion of David, which he sang unto the Lord concerning the words of Cush the Benjamite, and so on and so forth in Psalm 7. To the chief musician on Neganoth upon Sheminith, Psalm 6. But again, don't get upset, don't get mad, because we're not boxed in anything, but we use all things for study and to prove and show and prove the truths, both hidden and revealed in the world around us. And so, for many of us, that must include also the good book. So, for those that don't, it's okay. Don't get mad about it. If you get mad about it, there's evidence of some sort of negative spirit there. Let's not be a Nazi about anything. Nobody's trying to hit you over the head with nothing bop, and you supposed to do this, and you better believe like this, and don't try to hit me over the head with nothing, because you won't be successful at that. So let's deal with what we all can vibe with, can we? So Jay Dilla, I met him outside of the hip hop shop. It was my good friend DJ Dez, formerly DJ of the Inner Circle and then Slum Village, family to me, good brother. I've stayed at his home, and his grandmother accepted me like a grandson, and mine did the same to him, and I'm sure that none of that would be anything he'd be ashamed of me saying, because it's all real. But he had the music in his blood. His father was a very well-known and respected percussionist in Latin music and jazz and R&B, but primarily in Latin music. And ironically, we both have a mutual friend, my main man DJ Los from Coast to Coast, Shalom, who brought me into the understanding of Hebrew that allows me to accept what I do of Scripture and of what Christians say, because I was very against it at one time, and I understand all of you people who are, and I do maintain that it's something a little bit deeper than what you think, because it has been misrepresented terribly, and there are a lot of wicked people who try to use it to justify a lot of sugar, honey, iced tea. But again, we look past that. We take what we can use and we throw away the rest, and we let the Most High put it to the test. So it was through my good brother Dez that I met JD, who was already getting somewhat of a following. I mean, just from passing out stuff in the intimate hip-hop community here. And I remember when I was putting together my stuff, he was kind of a bar that I was thinking about as I was making it. But really, the bar, if you want to know, was DJ Dez. DJ Dez Andres was the bar. And everybody knew it because he was a little more active. And Dilla was a little more exclusive. And Dilla and Dez was tight and exchanged a lot of ideas on beats. And their earlier stuff, it's just my opinion. My personal opinion is my page. Dez was killing him. But, a lot of people would differ with that. That's cool. You can. But around the time that Dilla got the Farside gig, that's when he started to really elevate. And he was really taking his stuff to a new level. Well, it was around that time, somewhere in that area, maybe a little bit before then, that Dez introduced me to JD standing outside of the hip hop shop, and as I said, there was a big to-do made over the brother already at this point. Okay, so he's already got a buzz going on in our little community in the city. And, even some of the gangster dudes and some of the more street-oriented hip-hoppers were, coming to him for tracks because he really was doing some things that prior to that you didn't find a lot of Detroit producers doing. And that's what we all kind of held in common that went to the hip-hop shop. We were the one, because trust me, in a city like Detroit, with a high concentration of African Americans and a very urban inner city vibe, you can imagine this crawling with rappers. So you should think it dubious when you find the one representative rapper to be white from out of the city. Let's just be for real. And that's not to take anything away from him, but let's just be, let's be logical about this. That tells you something about there's a machine at work, there's something larger and bigger than black and white at work here, because M didn't have nothing to do with that per se. It was forces bigger than all of us that held back certain individuals and pushed other individuals forward. It's Motown. This is something that is not new. Because this is Motown, you already had a strong secret society presence here involved in music. So I meet Dilla, and he rubbed off on me, and I'm man enough to say that, and I'm sure if he were here, he would be man enough to say I rubbed off on him. And I say that without stuttering, no apologies. It's what you do as musicians. You know this, as people that make music and produce together in close quarters. I was passing out 3-card Molly, which you'll find on here, and he was passing out his stuff, fantastic. And his mixing ear and engineering ear crushing, killing mine. But I'm not going to say that about his creative ear or his lyrical presentation or the other things that make a song a song. I would say that we were contemporaries, and I'm sure that if he were here, of course he's not, he would say the same thing. So I say that to say we had a lot of things in common. Proof, Dilla, myself, by 10. We were all, and on some level, Des, but not as focused on it, I guess, as we were. We were all involved in and reading about metaphysics and or the occult. Because once you get to a certain level in metaphysics, you will cross the line into the occult. Don't kid yourself. Whether it's black version of metaphysics and you're dealing with Egypt and Kemet and you think that you found something that no white man can handle and you're safe and sound in that from all things Luciferian, foolish. Or whether it's just your garden variety metaphysics, which is a dressed up version of witchcraft, because you find it in the same section with the same books, and that's for the same reason. It's both a part of a Luciferian deception that's larger than black and white. We both get the trick bag when it comes to it. But the mystical side of music production was being explored by Dilla. I was exploring it, and it's just where we were at the time. The effect of Tribe Called Quest and the low end theory and the vibe and energy of that was very Aquarian age, and I gravitated toward that, and Dilla gravitated toward that, as did Proof and Batin. Now, ironically, those three brothers were all a part. Dilla, Proof, Batin were all a part of an order here. Secret society, because it's a society that everyone does not know about, called the Order of Divine Reality. And when you involve yourselves in these different fraternities and you believe that they're showing you something exclusive, just know that you're not as exclusive as you think you are. You're being put in a trick that many before you, some smarter than you, some not as smart as you, have also been put in. And unless you can recognize how Lucifer runs his tricks, and we're not going to get stuck on it. That's the Latin for light bearer. What you want me to call him? Azazel, Hashatan? I mean, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The evil one has a way, and he has a system, and he has rules, and like a dog has a nature and a cat has a nature. There's things dogs do that cats don't, and vice versa. Lucifer, quote unquote, has a way, and unless you understand that way, you will get caught up in it, thinking that it's something else, and that's the way that metaphysics, the occult, the study of the supernatural, in its innocence, can catch you up. Purposely and with detrimental consequences. And that's the goal from the beginning, to lure you in by way of knowledge. Kind of reminds you of the allegorical tale of the Garden of Eden, or literal tale of the Garden of Eden. I don't know, I wasn't there. But again, it's the same trick over and over and over again, using your knowledge, your belief that you know against you. A wise man knows that he knows not. It's important not to let yourself trick you. That's the worst person to put in a trick, is your own self. But that's what metaphysics is designed to do. In reality, hear me now, believe me later. So when you get into the mystical side of music production, you have the augmented fourth of the chord of evil, the devil's chord of the tritone. You have these different combinations, these tonal combinations that are used to open portals. You can open a portal by way of a Solomon's key, of course, and we're all somewhat familiar with that. A Solomon's key is basically your garden variety pentagram. And it's called a lot of names. Solomon's key is one, a stargate, because it's a gate for the stars. Star is another word that we should really deal with on the next spelling thing. But yeah, a stargate, because it has to do with the sun being a star, and biblical references to the fallen angels as the stars and as the sons of God. The sons of God, I maintain the S-O-N of son, the original is S-U-N. It was the sons of God. And so when you're a shining star, no matter who you are, you know, the stargate is used to open up a portal and allow the stars to come in. Interesting how you call entertainers stars. Well, I maintain that not only was that a way to open portals, but magic words is also a way to open these portals, of course. And magic words are nothing but sounds or tones. Think about it. Isis used the verbs of power. Verbs of power, Brother Jay said. The words of power. The words that you say can cause the realm to open up and allow for entities to come in. Believe it or not. Okay, well, you can say something to somebody so cold-blooded that it changes their spirit and causes them to be Agent Smith, to have a walk-in, because of the very words you said. Now, just imagine if you understood how to truly curse or hex. Another one, of course, beside the pentagram is the six-pointed one, the hexagram. Again, another form of stargate. But we're going to talk about the stargates created by music. And if it takes 2 videos, so be it. I don't want it to, but hey. So when you hear people talk about the devil's chord or the tritone, don't be so dubious. The augmented fourth, the chord of evil, is found in nearly every song since the 1500s. It was banned by the church. At one time, everybody in the church was not tainted. You know, everybody, and you know, when you throw blanket accusations on atheists, on Muslims, on Christians, on Israelites, you're doing yourself a disservice, because somebody can say something right at any given time. A Jehovah's Witness has something right to add, even though Charles Taze Russell was buried in a pyramid tomb. and you can question them on that. But if you so desire to get into that debate, but the bottom line is you have to be able to hear a person out and to study and look at a thing before you condemn it or let somebody else condemn it to you. A lot of you don't know nothing about this quote unquote good book, and you got so much bad things to say about it. They ain't never cracked it open. Ain't never read a whole chapter. So stop that, please. But opening portals by way of sound, music, and magic words do this. Now, I'm going to run through line after line. The devil's chord is also called the tritone because it's based off of 3 tones, they say. But also because it has to do with the Triton, and the Triton was used by Neptune. Neptune is a god that we know rules in water. Water, we know, carries vibration. And all of those things are related. And the tritone, for those of you that do music production, perhaps you'll notice in the tritone, you'll find the name of a popular instrument that was used to bring us into this modern era. The ASR-10 was another one for the era prior to that, and before that, the MPC. And then, before that, you had the Elises and the SP-12 and other drum machine samplers. But the tritone, the devil's chord, it's what music is based off of up here. And when I say up here, I really should say down here compared to the heavenly realms. But where we are at, in this third dimension, it runs the music that we listen to. So we're constantly opening portals through the songs that we play and sample. So you should know something about the tritone before you even get into your serious sampling, because all you will do is not only will you take the one part of the song that has the tritone in it, because it's the part that's going to sound sweet to you. The devil knows what you like, famous saying. It does appeal to your lower nature, and that's what we're groomed to gravitate toward in this third dimensional reality in New Babylon where we live. And I know you guys in NYC don't want us to call this whole thing New Babylon because you believe that's only NYC. Well, NYC is the true capital of New Babylon, but the center of the Babylon world system is certainly America. So for all American music, and I maintain even some classical music that you find of European origin, you can find the tritone as its anchor. And of course for heavy metal and rock and roll, and much of jazz. We live in Brooklyn, baby. It is one of the things that motivated me and inspired me to Wine and Weed. And Wine and Weed is a song that it was playing low one day, and Midnight Man had played, and the other songs on that tape had played. And excuse me for the quality, y'all. I mean, why do a remaster and remix? I'm not going to do anything with that stuff. So I put it up there merely for nostalgia's sake on my behalf, and then for you guys, maybe to learn something or enjoy something that I once did, and right now it's about to be a learning tool because some of y'all are going to check it out. But Wine and Weed came on. It was very low, and my pastor happened to be in the vehicle as it was on. I mean, we was all talking, and nobody was paying the music any attention before Wine and Weed came on. But once Wine and Weed came on, she said, and I mean, she couldn't hear it, I know. She said, "Oh my God, I don't like that type of music. Oh, that's disturbing." But it's like, it's the chords. It was based off of bass chords, and now I understand. And really, just today, I was motivated to make this video because I really don't want to do more stuff on music. Health is where we're going next. The next series of videos will be about health. I just had a loss. My good buddy Mad Dog, rest in peace. And peace and blessings to you and your family. And my condolences and sympathies. But I just had a death of a brother in my age group, and when I was younger, the deaths were due to violence. Now it's due to health.